Good morning, children. Hearty welcome to all of you for today's English session. Hope all are doing good. Okay, children, if you are ready, let's get started. As you know, we have already started a new lesson from our supplementary reader, The Last Leaf. As you know, last day's class, there was a little bit disturbances in the recording, so I would like to begin the lesson from the very beginning itself. Okay, so please listen. The Last Leaf. It's a short story written by O. Henry. It was published in the year 1907 in his collection The Trimmed Lamb and Other Story. The story is set in a Greenwich village during a pneumonia epidemic. It tells the story of an old artist who saves the life of a young neighboring artist dying of pneumonia by giving her the will to live. Through her window, she can see an old ivy creeper gradually shedding its leaves as autumn turns into winter. And she has taken the thought into her head that she will die when the last leaf falls. The leaves fall day by day, but the last one leaf stays on for several days. The ill woman's health quickly recovers. At the story's end, we learn that the old artist, who always wanted to produce a masterpiece but had never had any success, spent considerable time painting with a great realism a leaf on the wall for the whole night. Furthermore, the old artist himself dies of pneumonia while being out in the wet and cold. That's a summary of the story, children. So let's begin the lesson. Sue and Johnsy, two young artists, shared a small flat. The flat was on the third story of an old house. Johnsy fell very seriously ill in November. She had pneumonia. She would lie in her bed without moving, just gazing out of the window. Sue, her friend, became very worried. She sent for the doctor. Although she came every day, there was no change in Johnsy's condition. One day, the doctor took Sue aside and asked her, "Is anything worrying Johnsy?" "No," replied Sue. "But why do you ask?" The doctor said, "Johnsy, it seems, has made up her mind that she is not going to get well. If she doesn't want to live, medicines will not help her." Okay, children, let's see the explanation. It's written in very simple English. Okay. Sue and Johnsy, two girls. They lived together in a small flat. They were artists. The flat was on the third floor of an old house. One day, in the month of November, Johnsy was struck by pneumonia. You know what is pneumonia? It's a disease caused due to infection of the lungs. Then one more word is there in that paragraph, children. Gazing. Gazing means looking. So in the month of November, Johnsy was struck by pneumonia. She remained in bed and would look out of the window. She was just gazing out of the window. She would look out of the window. Her friend Sue was worried about Johnsy and she called the doctor. The doctor visited them daily, but there was no improvement, no change in Johnsy's condition, Johnsy's health. No improvement in Johnsy's health. So one day, the doctor secretly asked Sue if something was the matter with Johnsy. Sue replied that there was nothing to worry and asked why did the doctor think so. The doctor said that it seemed that Johnsy had decided not to live and did not want to recover from her illness. In such a case, medicines would not work on her. That's the opinion given by the doctor. Okay. Sue tried her best to make Johnsy take an interest in things around her. She talked about the clothes and fashions, but Johnsy did not respond. Johnsy continued to lie still on her bed. Sue brought her drawing board into Johnsy's room and started painting. To take Johnsy's mind off her illness, she whistled while working. So what did she do, children? Yes, Sue tried her level best to make Johnsy take an interest in things around her. But what's the result? She discussed interesting things like clothes and fashion with her, but Johnsy remained unaffected. She did not respond. She lay in bed. Then Sue sat beside her and started painting in order to create an interest in her. What did she do next, children? Yes, she brought her drawing board into Johnsy's room and started painting in her room. To take Johnsy's mind off her illness, she whistled while working. So, Sue would whistle at times to brighten up Johnsy. But what was the result? Johnsy did not respond. Suddenly, Sue heard Johnsy whisper something. She quickly rushed to the bed and heard something counting, Johnsy counting backwards. She was looking out of the window and was saying 12. After some time, she whispered 11, then 10, then 9, 8, 7. Sue anxiously looked out of the window. She saw an old ivy creeper climbing halfway up the brick wall opposite their window. In the strong wind outside, the creeper was shedding its leaves. So, what is going on there, children? Yes, suddenly Sue heard that Johnsy was speaking softly. Johnsy was whispering something. She was making a backward counting while looking out of the window. Sue was curious and looked outside. She saw an ivy creeper planted beside the window of the room. A strong wind blows, and in the strong wind outside, the creeper was shedding its leaves. As I told you, it's a season of autumn, so leaves gradually shedding its leaves as autumn turns into winter. So it's natural. The ivy creeper gradually shedding its leaves one by one. Okay, so Sue anxiously looked out of the window. What did she see there? She saw an old ivy creeper climbing halfway up the brick wall opposite their window. Then, as strong winds were blowing, the leaves of the creeper were falling one by one. The creeper was shedding its leaves. What is it, dear? Sue asked her. 6, whispered Johnsy. They are falling faster now. 3 days ago there were almost 100 leaves. There are only 5 left now. It's autumn, said Sue, and the leaves will fall. When the last leaf falls, I will die, said Johnsy with finality. I have known this for the last 3 days. Oh, that's nonsense, replied Sue. What have all the ivy leaves to do with your getting well? The doctor is confident that you will get better. Johnsy did not say anything. Sue went and brought her a bowl of soup. I don't want any soup, said Johnsy. I'm not hungry. Now there are only 4 leaves left. I want to see the last one fall before it gets dark. Then I will sleep forever. Sue sat on Johnsy's bed, kissed her, and said, You are not going to die. I can't draw the curtain for the need. I need the light. I want to finish the painting and get some money for us. Please, my dear friend, she begged. Johnsy promised not to look out of the window while I paint. So what is going on there, children? What is it, dear? Sue asked. So Sue asked her what the matter was. Then Johnsy said, 6. Then she said that the leaves were falling faster. She added that 3 days ago there were a lot of leaves on the ivy creeper, almost 100, but now only 5 were left. Then Sue said, It's autumn season. It's natural for the creeper to shed its leaves. Then what's the reply given by Johnsy? Johnsy said that she would die when the last leaf fell. She added that she had known this for the last 3 days. So Sue replied that this did not make any sense. It's nonsense. That's nonsense. What have all the ivy leaves to do with your getting well? The doctor is confident that you will get better. So what she is trying to say, children? Yes, you replied that this did not make any sense. It's nonsense. The leaves had nothing to do with her health. The doctor was sure that she would recover. So Johnsy did not say anything. Sue went and brought her a bowl of soup. I don't want any soup. Johnsy did not accept the soup. She was not hungry. Then she said that 4 leaves were remaining on the ivy plant. She wanted to see the last leaf fall before sunset, and then she could sleep peacefully. So by hearing this, Sue tried to show her affection towards Johnsy. She sat on her bed, kissed her, and said, "You are not going to die." "But I can't draw the curtain, for I need the light." So she said that Johnsy would not die. She kept the curtain open because she needed the light to complete her painting. So she would sell it to fetch money for them. So Sue requested Johnsy not to look out of the window. "Please, my dear friend, promise not to look out of the window while I paint." So she requested Johnsy to promise not to look out of the window while she painted. "All right," said Johnsy, "finish your painting soon, for I want to see the last leaf fall. I am tired of waiting. I have to die, so let me go away peacefully like one of those poor tired leaves." "Try to sleep," said Sue. "I have to paint an old miner. I will call Berman out to be my model." Sue rushed down. Berman lived on the ground floor. He was a 60-year-old painter. His lifelong dream was to paint a masterpiece, but that had remained a dream. Sue poured out her worries to Berman. She told him how Johnsy was convinced that she would die when the last leaf fell. "Is she stupid?" asked Berman. "How can she be so foolish? She is running a high temperature," complained Sue. "She refuses to eat and drink. That worries me a lot." So what is going on there, children? Yes. "All right," said Johnsy, "finish your painting." So Johnsy agreed. For what, children? She agreed that she would not look out of the window. So Johnsy agreed and asked Sue to finish the painting so that she could be in time to see the last leaf fall of the ivy plant. So she was tired of waiting to see it fall. She wanted to die. She was tired, just like the poor, tired ivy leaves. "Try to sleep," said Sue. "I have to paint an old miner, so I'll call Berman up to be my model." So Sue asked her to try to get some sleep. Sue asked her to try to sleep, as she had to paint an old miner. You know who is a miner? A person who works in a mine, coal mine, like that. Okay, so she would call upon her neighbor Berman to be a model for her. For an old miner, she wanted to call upon their neighbor Berman to be a model for her painting. So what did she do? She rushed down. Berman lived on the ground floor. So in the next paragraph, we will get a picture about Berman. He was a 60-year-old painter. He aspired to paint a masterpiece. His lifelong dream was to paint a masterpiece. But what happened to him? It remained as a dream. So Sue discussed with Berman about Johnsy's condition. She said that Johnsy was sure that she would die when the last leaf fell off the ivy plant. So she told him how Johnsy was convinced that she would die when the last leaf fell. Then Berman asked, "Is she stupid? How can she be so foolish?" So Berman commented that Johnsy was being silly. Then Sue complained one more thing. She is running a high temperature. What do you mean by she is running a high temperature? Yes, she was suffering from high fever. She was not eating too. So Sue was worried about her. "I will come with you, see Johnsy," Berman said. They tiptoed into the room. Johnsy was sleeping. Sue drew the curtains together and they went to the next room. She peeped out through the window. There was only one leaf on the creeper. It was raining heavily and an icy cold wind was blowing. It seemed as though the leaf would fall any minute now. Berman did not say a word. He went back to his room. Johnsy woke up the next morning. In a feeble voice, she asked Sue to draw the curtains. Sue was nervous. She drew back the curtain very reluctantly. So what is going on there, children? Yes, "I will come with you and see Johnsy." Berman, by hearing this, by hearing the complaints about Johnsy, Berman agreed to come with her to see Johnsy. So "I will come with you and see Johnsy," Berman said. So they tiptoed into the room. What do you mean by children? Tiptoed. Tiptoed means they entered into the room secretly without making any sound. They tiptoed into the room because Johnsy was sleeping. So They entered the room quietly. Johnsy was asleep. So Sue drew the curtains and they went to the next room. So drew the curtains together and they went to the next room. Sue looked out of the window. There was only one leaf left on the creeper plant. There was heavy rain outside. Cold wind is also there. So the leaf was due to fall any moment. So she was very sure. It seemed as though the leaf would fall any minute now. So Sue was very sure that the leaf would fall any minute. So what's going on there, children? Yes, Berman. He did not say a word. He went back to his room. So he realized the actual condition. So what did he do, children? Yes, he did not say anything and he went back to his room. The next morning, Johnsy woke up and in a weak voice, have you seen the word feeble voice? Feeble means weak. In a weak voice, she asked Sue to open the curtain or to draw back the curtains. Sue was very nervous. She was so worried and hesitantly drew them back. Reluctantly means hesitantly, without any interest. She drew back the curtain. Oh, Sue exclaimed as she looked at the vine creeper. Look, there is still one leaf on the creeper. So, what did she do, children? Yes, the next morning, Johnsy woke up and in a feeble voice and in a weak voice Johnsy asked to open the curtain. She asked Sue to open the curtain or to draw back the curtain. So, what did she do, children? Yes, Sue drew back the curtains very reluctantly, unwillingly. She drew back the curtain, hesitantly drew them back. Oh, Sue exclaimed as she looked at the vine creeper. Look, there is still one leaf on the creeper. So what is going on there, children? There is still one leaf on the creeper. It's quite green and healthy. In spite of the storm and the fierce winds, it didn't fall. So Sue was glad enough. She was so happy. So she said loudly that there was still one leaf on the creeper. It appeared green and healthy. It hadn't fallen despite the storm. I heard the wind last night, said Johnsy. I thought it would have fallen. It will surely fall today, then I will die. So what did she say, Johnsy? Johnsy said that she also had heard the wind the previous night. So she had thought that the leaf would definitely fall. So she added that it would fall that day for sure, and then she would die too. So what did she say, children? Yes, Johnsy said, I heard the wind last night. I thought it would have fallen. So I thought that I would surely die because the leaf also will surely fall that day. Okay, so what did she say, children? Yes, she had the winds the previous night. She had thought that the leaf would definitely fall. She added that it would fall that day for sure, and then she would die too. You won't die, said Sue energetically. You have to live for your friends. What would happen to me if you die? So Sue said that Johnsy would not die. You would not die, she said energetically. She had to live for her friends. Then she added, she would become what? She would become lonely if Johnsy died. See the question? What would happen to me if you die? So it's very sure that Sue would become lonely if Johnsy died. Johnsy smiled weakly and closed her eyes. After every hour or so, she would look out of the window and find the leaf still there. So it seemed to be clinging to the creeper. So Johnsy, she was relieved. She smiled and closed her eyes. Then she was very weak, but after almost every hour, she would look out if the leaf was still there or not. So, within 1 hour or after every hour or so, she would check whether the leaf was there or not. It seemed that the leaf was stuck to the creeper. It seemed to be clinging to the creeper. So, it seemed that the leaf was stuck to the creeper. In the evening, there was another storm, but the leaf did not fall. Johnsy lay for a long time looking at the leaf. Then she called out to Sue. So there was another storm that evening, but the leaf did not fall. Johnsy kept on looking at it, and at last she called out to Sue. She called loudly for Sue. Then what did she say, children? I have been a bad girl. You have looked after me so lovingly, and I have not cooperated with you. I have been depressed and gloomy. The last leaf has shown me how wicked I have been. I have realized that it's a sin to want to die. So now, Johnsy said, she had been a bad girl. Sue looked after her while she did not cooperate and remained sad. The last leaf had made her realize her mistake. She said that the desire to die was a wrong thing. It's a sin. So at last, Johnsy realized that she had been a bad girl. Even after Sue looked after her very lovingly, she did not cooperate with her. She had been depressed and gloomy. So the last leaf, it made her realize her mistake. So she said that it's a sin or it's a wrong one to think about, or she said that the desire to die was a wrong thing. I have realized that it's a sin to want to die. I have realized that it's a wrong one to think about, or it's a wrong thing, or it's a sin to want to die. It's not a good desire to want to die. She hugged Johnsy. Then she gave her a hot soap and a mirror. Johnsy combed her hair and smiled brightly. So Sue became very happy. She embraced her. She hugged her, and she gave her a hot soap. She gave her lots of hot soap and a mirror and asked her to comb her hair. In the afternoon, the doctor came. After examining his patient, he told Sue, Johnsy has the will to live. I'm confident she will recover soon. Now I must go downstairs and see Berman. He is also suffering from pneumonia, but I am afraid there is no hope for him. So what is going on there, children? Yes, the next morning, a doctor visited. Not the next morning, children, in the afternoon itself, the doctor came. So the doctor visited that afternoon and said that the desire to live was back in Johnsy. So he was happy because he realized that Johnsy was confident that she would recover soon. So I'm confident she would, not Johnsy, yes, Johnsy now has the will to live. So what did the doctor say, children? After examining his patient, he told us Johnsy has now the will to live. So I'm confident that she would recover soon. So I'm confident she will recover soon. So now I must go downstairs and see Berman. So what is going on there, children? Yes. He went downstairs to check Berman, who was suffering from pneumonia, and there was no hope that he would recover. So he was afraid. The doctor was afraid. The doctor was afraid because there was no hope for him. He was also suffering from pneumonia. The next morning, Sue came and sat on Johnsy's bed, taking Johnsy's hand in hers and said, I have something to tell you. Mr. Berman died of pneumonia this morning. He was ill for only 2 days. The first day, the janitor found him on his bed. His clothes and shoes were wet and he was shivering. He had been out in that stormy night. So have you seen the word, children, janitor? Janitor means a person whose job is to look after a building. It's given in your textbook, children. It's in the vocabulary portion. Come to page number 48. You will get the meaning of janitor. Janitor means a person whose job is to look after a building. So the next morning, what happened, children? Yes, the next morning, Sue came and sat on Johnsy's bed. Then she said, Berman died. I have something to tell you. So what happened, children? Yes, she wanted to say something to Johnsy. Mr. Berman died of pneumonia that morning. He was ill for only 2 days. But the first day, the janitor found him on his bed. His clothes and shoes were wet and he was shivering. He had been somewhere out in that stormy night. So who said these words, children? Yes, Sue came to Johnsy's bed and Sue sat on her bed and told her that Berman was no more. Then they found a ladder and a lantern still lighted lying near his bed. There were also some brushes and green and yellow paints on the floor near the ladder. Johnsy, dear, said Sue, look out of the window. Look at that ivy leaf. Haven't you wondered why it doesn't flutter when the wind blows? That's Berman's masterpiece. He painted it the night the last leaf fell. So children, did you get the story? Okay, so listen. So a ladder and a lantern were lying near his bed. Then they found, who found? Sue and maybe the janitor and John C. So they found at last. They found a ladder and a lantern still there lying near his bed, and the lantern was still lighting. So there were also some brushes. Painting brushes, green and yellow colored paint were also there on the floor near the ladder. John C. Dear, said Sue, look out of the window. See, just look out of the window. You asked John C. to look out of the window. Then look at that ivy leaf. Look at that ivy leaf carefully. Haven't you wondered why does it flutter when the leaves blow? So it did not flutter. It did not move when the wind blew. So it was the masterpiece of Berman. It was the masterpiece that Berman aspired to paint. So when the last leaf fell at night, he painted this one. So what happened to Berman, children? Yes, he wanted to draw a masterpiece, but he had never had any success in his life. But at last, what did he do, children? Yes, he had drawn his masterpiece before his death. So Sue asked John C. to look out of the window. Look at that ivy leaf. Haven't you wondered why doesn't flutter when the leaves blow? So haven't you wondered why doesn't flutter? So have you noticed it doesn't flutter when the leaf blows? So that is Berman's masterpiece. He painted it the night the last leaf fell. So he painted the leaf for John C. Did you get the story, children? Yes. So what happened to him, children? Yes, the old artist, he himself died of pneumonia while being out in the wet and the cold in order to save the life of the young artist. Okay, so I hope you understood the story. Children, notes will be there. Don't forget to write the notes and send it to me in Google Classroom. Thank you, children. Have a nice day.